What's up out there, my friends? I have finished another book that I really enjoyed. I'm glad that I finally committed to the Dresden Files series by Jim Butcher. If you want to support what I do here on my channel, please take a minute to like and subscribe. Let's talk about this book. Full Moon by Jim Butcher is the second installment in the Dresden Files series, and it's about a professional wizard, Chicago's only professional wizard, Harry Dresden. And Dresden is utilized by the Chicago Police Department. You see, Lieutenant Karen Murphy calls Dresden in when there are crimes committed that involve magic, and it turns out that there have been some murders committed under the full moon in Chicago, so this gives Jim Butcher a perfect setup to write a werewolves novel that I think works really well. This is the second time I have been surprised by this series. I was skeptical about the first book. I thought it was fantastic. I think that this second installment, my friends, is actually different enough from the first one that I felt it wasn't a do-over of book one, which was really important to me. You know, I like these books because they're character-driven and they're about morality and trying to become better. You see, Harry Dresden is an imperfect wizard. He's a human wizard, and he has a lot of struggle within him to do the right thing, and I really love the fact that he's flawed. He's a powerful mage type character, but he's also vulnerable, and it makes him the perfect hero because he has struggles. He's not invincible. He can be stopped. So it's a really interesting thing that Jim Butcher has going on here. Let me know down in the comments, my friends, if you're into this series, if you're thinking about reading it, if you have a book recommendation for me, and I will definitely check that out. I really liked this book because of the character interactions. You see, Lieutenant Karen Murphy really frustrates me because she doubts Harry Dresden's motives, right? And when an author writes a character that actually gets an emotional response out of you as the reader, that's an ace as far as a character goes. And I think that Jim Butcher works in a lot of believable scenarios. Johnny Marconi is a crime boss in this series, and I love his part in it. It really enriches it because there are a variety of different things going on, and people have different motives. And I really loved the fact that this book doesn't water down the themes. Let me explain that. Jim Butcher really explores morality and trust. When I say, well, the themes were morality and trust, it isn't lightly that I'm saying that. Butcher really explores the human nature and the human psychology. And you can actually, if you deeply consider these characters and the issues they're going through, I think that this is a more mature novel than many critics give it credit for. I think that Jim Butcher's really trying to make points in his book about behavior and self-help even. How can we understand ourselves and become better? Of course, you wouldn't have to read into it that far if you chose not to. This is kind of set up as an escapism kind of book, and I don't know why people hate on those kinds of books, because if you can create a good escape for someone, and you're bringing up subjects about morality and sociology and trying to understand ourselves. It's really a fascinating and engrossing read. I understand that the stakes actually get higher with this series. From what I understand, my friends, this series in the next book really starts to take a step toward a standard, maybe different epic fantasy style. I don't even know what to expect here. Everyone says that book 2 is the worst. I thought it was good, and that book 3 and forward really takes it to a whole new level. So I'm already waiting for book 3 to get here. I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of this series. I don't know why I considered it for so long and didn't jump in. I like the fact that this book takes off basically where book 1 left off, and the relationship between Harry and Murphy is strained, and this book, from what I understand, sets up some things for future books. And of course, I can't see all of that now because I've only read the first 2, but I'm definitely looking forward to moving on with this and seeing Jim Butcher mature as a writer and get better, and I'm just into this thing. I liked the fact that this didn't feel like a repeat of book 1. That can happen with a series, especially if book 1 was an author's debut novel. They can have the tendency sometimes to kind of repeat that for the second one, and that wasn't what happened in this series. I really like the fact that Jim Butcher does something here that I have never experienced before. It truly is a unique thing, is this series. And I like the fact that although the plot is resolved in this book, Butcher has a way of cliffhangering you, so to speak, for the next installment, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one. I'm going to give it a 5-star review, and I don't necessarily mean that it couldn't have been any better, but I was so surprised by it and caught up in it and really appreciating the fact that it was a fresh, new experience, not book 1 again. So I just have to give it a 5-star review and a maximum recommendation here. Well, there you go, my friends. This is a great book, and I think you should read it. I, of course, recommend starting with book 1 if you're not already into this thing. And I want to let you know that you can join me on social media. Links are in the description. I thank you all for stopping by, and I will see you next time.